I just crawled out of bed. That Journey Chick on Instagram. Welcome to another edition of Crafting and Crime Daily with your happy camper. Why am I still in my PJs? Because there's a blizzard outside. Today was a work day. I was supposed to have a doctor's appointment for my knee and then go to work. But you know what? We're getting like the snow. It's white out. Like I woke up at like 5 o'clock this morning, and it's weird. Some of it is like sleet, and some of it is snow. So I woke up at 5, and I thought, I'll let Tootsie out. So she seemed like she wanted to go out. The door was frozen shut, so I pried the door open. And she looked out there and she's like, not going out there. Same thing this morning. So this morning when I opened the door, there was snow like blowing. It looked like the top of one of those slopes at the Olympics the other day. Did you see how bad it was snowing at the Olympics? That's what it looks like today. So she was like, nope, not interested. So you know what? I made the like button go out and walk her.
Oh no!
Yes, sorry. So please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy the content. And if you're already a subscriber, consider becoming a member of the channel. Your membership money goes to support the content of the channel. Yes. So let's get the planner out. So I spent 30 minutes on the phone trying to cancel my doctor's appointment. No answer. So I figured they're not at that office either. They all stayed home. So it's okay. I just hung up. I figure they'll understand why I'm not there. Okay. What's today? Thursday. So we have to reschedule this. Reschedule. Today was a big day. Okay. Snow day. And tomorrow I have to, the weekend, my son and daughter-in-law are going to a judo tournament. They're coaches and they're also participants. So it's masters, of course. So I'm going to watch the kids. Now these are teenagers. So I don't know how you watch teenagers, but he said, Mom, I just need somebody there for when the police bring them home. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. So watch the grandkids. I'm sure, well, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure Malia will be around. She likes to hang out with Grandma. Yeah, okay. So we had fun last night on Craft With Me Wednesday. Myself and Cheryl Katz, we were loom knitting. We're just chit-chatting with everybody in chat. It was a lot of fun. Okay, coffee, stretch. Oh my. Anytime I don't have to go into that office is a win. Yes, and it's snowing. Yeah, I know. I love snow. I didn't write what national day it is. Why did I put that away? I don't know. I don't know. Today is National do a random act of kindness. Yesterday you were supposed to do a random act of kindness for a grouch to see if you could make him smile. Let me know if that worked. Today, just do a random act of kindness for anybody. So, random act of kindness. And in this day in history, we're going to talk about a Zeppelin. First of all, what the heck is it? And there was a crash. Yeah. Okay. Now we can put it away. I, by the way, am loving this pink pen. Yes, it's so nice. All right. So, random act of kindness. Here are some famous quotes about random acts of kindness. I thought this would be fun. Mark Twain said, kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Aesop said, no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Scott Adams I don't know who Scott Adams is, but remember, there's no such thing as a small act of kindness. Every act creates a ripple with no logical end. And then an unknown author said, kind words and actions can seem so small, but their effects are truly endless. Because the thought process is, if you do a random act of kindness for someone, they'll pay it forward and they'll do something for random for someone else, and so on and so forth. So on and so. If I had the ability to get in my car and drive it, right now there's 3-4 foot of snow on it. You know, I could go and buy somebody behind me in line at McDonald's a cup of coffee or a donut at the donut shop. No more donuts. Cutting out the donuts. Yep. I'm very interested in the keto diet. I've heard a lot of good things about it from both subscribers and elsewhere. So today, my task today is to do some research on the keto diet. Now, if you guys have information that you'd like to send me, I would love to read it. In fact, I probably can look it up on YouTube, right? Keto diet, see what it is. I often find dieting is quite expensive, and I don't want something that I have to call a diet. I need something that I can make a way of life. You know, I don't want to consider myself to be on a diet. I just want to consider myself to have good eating habits, you know, get rid of the sugar, lower my blood sugar, my A1C, and get healthy, right? What else? Here's some ways you can observe the random act of kindness. Pay for the coffee or meal of the person in front of you in line. Leave a kind note for someone with no explanation. Don't even have to sign it. Yeah. Share words of encouragement. You never know who might need them. Put your skills to work for someone in need. For example, offer to create a resume for someone that's looking for a job. Drop off a load of groceries at the local food pantry. And the other thing you could do is you could buy some dog food and drop it off at the local shelter, or cat food. They always appreciate that. Mail, like snail mail, a thinking of you card to someone you've not talked to in a while. Ooh, here's a good one. Order a bouquet of flowers to be delivered to anyone in the hospital. Deliver flowers to the person the front desk thinks needs it the most. It could be a sick child, an elderly person with no family, or a college student down on their luck. Send a thank you note to the local fire department, police department, or any military personnel. Here's a good one. Just smile. There you go. That's my random act of kindness for you guys. I'm smiling. When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole... I'm ruining that song. Okay, never mind. Alrighty, that's Random Act of Kindness Day. Okay, let's talk about crafting and crime daily. Okay. The movie theater popcorn trial is continuing. Yesterday we had some stipulations in front of the judge, which means these are facts that are being put into evidence that nobody needs to take issue with. For one thing, that Chad's phone, Chad was the person that died, the gentleman that died, had 2 missed calls right around the time of the murder, actually, 1:24. The movie was supposed to start at 1:20, and he was killed during the previews, so. And there were some downloads from Facebook. So he was playing around on Facebook, no doubt. Then on Curtis's gun, Curtis is the defendant, they took his gun and they test fired it and found that it was functioning properly, that there was no misfire or anything like that. And I don't believe that he claimed there was, but they need to check everything. It was a Kel-Tec 380 pistol. Then the other stipulation was that at the time of this event, Mr. and Mrs. Reeves, Curtis Reeves, the defendant, and his wife, neither of them had applied for or received a handicap placard for their card. So in other words, were they, he's claiming he's old and handicapped and infirm and but has no handicap placard. Then we heard from a paramedic who was driving. He and his crew, they were driving in the area. They heard about the call. He gets to the scene. He goes in, and when he enters the theater, there's already a crew working on the deceased, doing CPR, getting him on a backboard, getting him, out of there. And then there's another crew attending to the wife who was shot in the hand. So he says, well, there doesn't seem to be anything for me to do here. So he goes outside, he's chit-chatting, and someone comes out and says, this defendant, Mr. Reeves, says he thinks he has something in his eye. Could you take a look? So they bring him out to the ambulance, and the guy takes his glasses off, and he examines his eye. He doesn't see anything. There's nothing visible that he can see, but he's like, I'll flush your eye out with some sterile water. So he flushes his eye out a few times with sterile water, and doesn't really get it. The guy's still complaining that there's something in his eye. Meanwhile, he's taken into custody. He's already in custody. He's handcuffed, but he's taken into the back of a police vehicle. Not your typical police vehicle, like these guys had at the time SUVs, and they're at the back of the theater to avoid media coverage. So he is escorted into not the back of the SUV, the front of the SUV. I don't know the configurance of the SUV, so maybe they had to put him in the front. I don't know. So they talked to a detective. He took the stand, who sat in on the interview with the defendant inside that vehicle. Now, he didn't really take part in any of the questioning, but his purpose in testifying was to testify about the defendant, Mr. Reeves, had the visor down and kept looking in the mirror to see what was in his eye, and he couldn't get it. And, so that was, he said he kept rubbing his eyelid. And then the defense attorney gets up and he's like, was it here, or was it here, or was it here? He's like, eyelid, right here, eyelid. Like there's a big to-do about where your eyelid is. It's quite, anyway, it was silly. And then we hear from the medical examiner, who said that the bullet entered the left side of the deceased Chad's chest. It nicked the fourth rib. So the left side of the chest, it nicked the fourth rib, entered the heart. So he said, as a bullet is going through the body, the jacket is peeling off of the bullet. So the jacket was actually found in the heart, and then the bullet continued into the right lung. So he found the bullet in the lung and the jacket in the heart. This was not a wound that this man was going to survive. So sad. And I watched the video very carefully, and it really happens so fast. But they did show the interview. Well, there was nothing to see. It was a tape recording. So we got to hear the interview that took place in that vehicle with Curtis Reeves, the defendant. And he's very calm and collected. And he says, geez, I never thought this would happen to me. I've never been so scared in my life. I thought he was coming after me. And he described that he said the F word, that the deceased said the F word several times in relation to texting to his daughter. And, if it's any of your business, I effing this and effing this, texting his daughter, which is kind of consistent with what everybody else heard. He doesn't remember anything about the popcorn, how it got knocked, but he does remember that the popcorn went flying. And he said the guy actually stood up in his chair, which is not supported by any of the witnesses. He said he stood up in the chair and then came over the chair, was leaning, and so leaning into him. Now he says he's leaning back in his chair. He had no way to retreat at this point. Um, and he says, this was self-defense. He says, I thought this guy was going to beat my ass. He'd already hit me in the head. And they're like, he hit you in the head? What do you mean he hit you in your head? Yeah, he took his fist and hit me in the head. No witness testifies that he got hit in the head. Nobody. Yeah, he knocked my glasses askew, and they're wire glasses, and they wouldn't fit right afterwards, and I had something in my eye, and I was in fear for my life. You know, I'm old. I'm 71. I'm not as limber as I used to be, you know, back in the good old SWAT days. So he shot him. He said he had the gun in his right front pocket, and he said the guy was, you know, he was leaning back because the guy was confronting him, so he just reached in and shot him. And there you go, self-defense. And he stuck to that story pretty much, but very calm. And he did ask about the victim, the deceased, you know, how's he doing? And they said, you know, he's not doing good. They're working on him, but it's not looking good. So he was concerned about the deceased, and he said, you know, my wife's, you know, afterwards she said, you know, we should have just got up and moved it to a different location, and if I had to do it over again, yes, that's what I would have done, which is interesting. So he put himself in this situation, you know, instead of getting up and going to complain to the manager, just get your popcorn and your soda and move to another location in the theater. Yeah. And he even says, I should have done that. Instead, he sat there and he continued this confrontation. You know, like it's like somebody poking you. Poke, 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 until you just fly off the handle, you know. And he kept poking the victim. Hey, you know, I reported you. Hey, shouldn't have reported you. See, you turned your phone off. Hey, get off my lawn. Yeah, I'm kidding around. I say this is a get off my lawn guy. The other thing that's happening in this trial, and you're like, oh, I should go watch this. No, it's so boring. It is so boring. What's happening is every time the defense attorney, who, by the way, is very good at what he does, every time he tries to impeach a witness or ask a question, can we go sidebar? The prosecution jumps up. Can we go sidebar? Can we go sidebar? They spend so much time sidebar, and it goes on and on and on. So finally, they, you know, sidebar's over. They go back to questioning. 5 minutes later, can we go sidebar? Sidebar. Back to questioning. Once again, can we go sidebar? And I don't know why the judge is not stopping it. It's a female judge. She's very, you know, she's sitting there going, oh, yawning. How's everybody's day? You know, she's not get a good night's sleep, Your Honor. But she's just allowing it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because there's cameras in her courtroom and she doesn't want speaking objections. I understand that. But at some point, you just got to say, you know, I know what your objection is, overruled. I know what your objection is, denied, you know, sustained. Whatever. But all these sidebars is just so distracting. I can't even imagine what the jury is thinking. Like, what a waste of freaking time. The man is guilty. Second degree murder. Let's go home. You know, he shot him. The other interesting thing is this man has been on house arrest for 8 years. A very lenient house arrest. He has not been in jail. He's been at home. He's allowed to go to the grocery store, doctor's appointments. You know, he can go here, he can go there. But if he gets a sentence, none of that counts towards his sentence. So that 8 years is not time served. That was like a little luxury there, Mr. Curtis Reeves. Yeah. So that is that trial. Now the other trial, I'm going to admit, yesterday was a very busy day. I did not have a chance to watch the other trial. I'm going to try to focus today on the other trial, the Robert Hayes trial. I do know yesterday that there was testimony regarding the genetic genealogy, and I really want to be able to explain that to you precisely and let you know what that is and how it works. Oh, there goes the phone. So I will do some research into that, and I will bring that to you tomorrow in Friday's episode. Also, I believe in the federal case, Officer Tutau, the case of the George Floyd, I call it the George Floyd trial. George Floyd was the victim. As you recall, George Floyd was accused of passing a fake $20 bill. The police were called. He refused to cooperate with them. He ends up on the ground outside of a police car. Derek Chauvin has his knee on his neck. There's two other officers that are holding him down, and at one point he just stops breathing and nobody does any resuscitation. So Tutau was the Oriental officer that was off to the side, sort of the front of the vehicle, doing crowd control. So his testimony continued yesterday. And it was pointed out on cross-examination, that these people were telling you he's having issues. And he's like, no, I thought they had it all under control. But I do know that the other two officers, because all three officers are on trial together. Now, Chauvin has already pled guilty to the federal violation of civil rights charges. That's what this case is about, violation of George Floyd's civil rights. Now, Derek Chauvin has already been found guilty of his murder in state court. The other three officers have not had their day in state court. So they're in federal court for the violation of civil rights because they maintain their plea of not guilty. I'm sure that the state court will come along very shortly thereafter, and then we'll get cameras and we'll be able to see what's going on. But I don't know if that's going to fly with a jury. So there's no cameras in federal court, so I haven't been able to really watch it. It's just I hear various sources, retelling what occurred during the day. Interesting. Yeah, lots of stuff going on in crafting and crime. Let's talk about what happened this day in history. So Zeppelins were invented by the Germans. They're very, very large airship. February 17th, 1915, a Zeppelin L4 crashes into the North Sea. Now it was being operated by the Germans. They were out over the North Sea. They were trying to navigate and locate Allied merchant ships, which they were not finding. When all of a sudden this huge blizzard comes up on them, total whiteout, kind of like this morning outside of my window, all of a sudden comes up on them, and just they try to navigate to the Danish coastal town, and they don't make it, and they crash into the water. And there was 15 people on board, 11 of the crew survived. They jumped off before it crashed, and they were recovered, and they survived. The rest were never found. No, never found. The Danish Coast Guard goes out and rescues these 11 guys, but the Danish were not allied with the Germans, so the Danish people put them in prison. They became prisoners of war. Bad luck for them. Yep. Because what happens is these Zeppelins would be dropping bombs on, the I don't get war. I don't know who the Germans were fighting, but the Germans would use the Zeppelins to drop bombs on their enemies, and that's what the purpose of the Zeppelin. Hi, kitty, kitty. Oh, that's not a good thing. You're getting caught. Oh, you're going to get caught? You're going to knock that over. Come here. Come say hi to Mommy. Where are you going? Where are you going? He likes to go in his laundry room, and he literally jumps from the top of the washing machine all the way up to, there's an entrance into this, this is a converted garage, so there's an entrance into the roof, for lack of a better term. And he likes to go up there, wander around, and then he doesn't know how to get down, so he meows, and he's like, help me get down. What are you doing? Now where are you? Oh, now he's looking out the window. He's don't know what to do with himself today. Kitty, kitty. Kitty, kitty. Come say my. You can come up here. Come on. Come say hello. Oh, you're so timid. Can you believe how big Stitch has gotten? He's so much bigger than Pearl. He really is. He eats his fair share. I'm not going to lie. He does eat his fair share. What's going on, buddy? What do you got all over you, huh? What do you got all over you? Where are you going? He's looking for something to get into. Nothing to get into, huh? Mommy's hit all the yarn. Bye. Oh my goodness. Okay, so tonight, don't forget, in the Ticket to Ride event, it is wrapping up this weekend. That's why this painting's not going to get done by this weekend, but I'm going to get as much of it done as possible. I don't know if you guys can see him. Now he's over here playing with the macrame. Oh my God. So tonight, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, in the Facebook group, Ticket to Ride, Bella will be turning pens. Bella's diamond painting pens. She will be turning pens. There'll be a couple of giveaways. I'm waiting for my pen. I can't wait to see my pen. She turned it for me right on my show on Sunday. So she's going to be turning pens again tonight. And there might be some for sale. There will also be some for giveaways. So tune in. It's fascinating to watch her turn a pen. I love it. Yep. Now where's Stitch? Where'd he go? He's disappeared into thin air. So I plan to work from home today, do some crafting when I have some on my breaks, my work breaks, and try to get my knee appointment rescheduled. Yeah, it is really bothering me, and I'm afraid it just randomly gives out, and I kind of stumble. I'm old. Anyway, I love you all. Have a great Thursday, and it's a short show today. I do apologize. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to hit the like button. He's buried in snow. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. And we're going to take that Ticket to Ride train all the way to tonight's live. See you there. Bye.